Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining me today. I wanted to talk about something that's very near and dear to our hearts, which are our children. As a parent, we experience many difficult things with our children and our children's health. Many known situations, many unknown situations, and situations that'll even stump our doctors. I was one of those parents. When my daughter was about 3 years old, she would constantly be sick and coughing and sneezing and what seems like a cold with cold symptoms, to where it seems as though she was never getting over the initial onset of a cold. I remember Googling her symptoms to see what the issue could have been, although Googling is the worst thing that we can do because they give you the worst possible scenario. I assumed that her sickness was contributed to those that she were around or those that were at school. Although when she was born, she was considered a premature. With premature babies, because they aren't fully developed when they're born, they often suffer from diseases and illnesses. So I kind of attributed to her sickness to that as well. After speaking with her doctor and having multiple blood tests done, they all came back negative. Although they did come back with higher elevations of white blood cell counts, which is normal because when you're fighting infection, blood cell counts are always elevated. After recently moving to a warmer climate, excuse me, my daughter is now going to school full time. After the first 6 months, she would come home weekly with what seemed like a cold that she couldn't fight. I knew something was wrong, so I acquired a new pediatrician. With her new pediatrician, she also agreed that Celeste, my daughter, was sick way entirely too much. Not until recently when I really became concerned when she ran 103 fever for 4 consecutive days that really worried me. After this, they diagnosed my daughter as being an asthmatic. She was a chronic asthmatic. She was wheezing, she was coughing, she was sneezing, all common signs of an asthmatic, but I knew nothing of it. She was diagnosed, her lungs were filled completely with mucus. With asthmatics can't clear their lungs, so the lungs become really full with mucus and congestion, and it causes the children not to be able to expel the mucus and break the mucus out of their lungs. Okay, baby. With many parents, I start to understand is that their children who have asthma are unaware of what the symptoms and how to control it. There are over 6 million children who suffer from asthma every day, with the highest of asthmatics in children under the age of 5. It's hard to diagnose asthma because the tests that they perform, where the children have to expel as much oxygen out into this machine to see the lung capacity. Children under 5 aren't able to do that. Asthma has been linked to approximately 3,400 deaths, which is about 9 children a day. African Americans are the highest with length of asthma. Since asthma is considered an allergen, there are so many contributors such as pollutants, pet dander, common cold which can trigger, as well as secondhand smoke, which also can be a contributor to asthma. A sure sign that your children may too have asthma if found if someone in your family has it. If they suffer from eczema, if they suffer from hay fevers, your children can also become part of those that suffer as well. What I was unaware of with asthma was an allergen. I thought asthma came from mold spores that attack the lungs, which isn't true. Like me, there are many parents that just don't fully understand what certain illnesses that are for our children as to why they're sick and how often, and not enough answers are given. When she would be coughing and sneezing nonstop, I attribute this to having a common cold, so I would treat her with common cold remedies, which wasn't the best thing to do. After she became diagnosed with asthma, we were informed that we should use a nebulizer. A nebulizer is this machine here where we add albuterol to where albuterol is a bronchodilator that opens up the lungs to allow the child to breathe. As you see, she's still fighting off a little something now, but with her asthma and her nebulizer and her albuterol, we're fighting it every day. So from one parent to another that's really concerned about your children's health, ask questions. Ask your pediatrician, what is best for my child? Because when they're young, it's more crucial. But to grow in and to be an asthmatic as an adult can be far worse. One parent to the next, ask as many questions as possible. Thanks for listening. We'll talk to you soon.